Hello everybody. I am just going to wait for everyone to arrive. Everyone's piling in now. For those of you who haven't done one of these before, if you look somewhere on your screen, there should be a Q&A box, and you can use that to add questions. Hello Lorna, welcome again. What I'm going to be doing today is talking about the reports section of Learning Journals, how that works, because maybe a lot of you don't use this. And what I'll do is share my screen in just a little second, but if you've got any questions at all on anything that I'm talking about, stick them into that Q&A section, and I'll try and get to them either through the webinar or at the end of it. I do apologise, because if you do hear at any point a dog or a small child come crashing into the room, then we're just going to have to deal with it, because that's just the reality of things at the moment. And I also meant to say this to everybody, right? So if you've missed all the previous webinars that we've done, if you want to catch up on those, I'm just going to share my screen with you now so I can show you this screen here. So if you want to catch up on those, you just need to go to our website, and which is learningjournals.co.uk. If you go to our website and scroll all the way down the bottom, there is a resources section. For that to load up here. Yeah, there we go, a resources section, and we've got a little link here called webinars. If you go in there, I've updated it as of today, so I've got today's sign up link here, but you can see all the previous videos that we've done for the previous webinars. So go to that page if you want to catch up on them. Yesterday we did tracking and monitoring, we did observation stories before that, and then last Friday we did messages and parent contributions. So they're all there, and I'll do the same with today's video. It'll appear later on today or tomorrow morning on that page. I'm just going to check, because I think we've got a few people asking in chat things. Oh, it's Leslie Ann again. Hello, Leslie Ann. Always early in. Okay, so again, apologies for the homemade style of this. Unfortunately, we've never taken a webinar course, and this has all been thrust upon us. But let's get into it, and let's see if we can get reports a little bit better known. So I've logged into my account here, and I'm on the children tab. One of the things, if you see this, a lot of you maybe haven't set your terms up. So it's up in the top right corner, I've got my term here. Now I've just set this one term for today, 2020, for the year, sorry. Now, to get reports to work properly, you'll need to have a term set up. So if you log into your account and you've got a little red message up the top that says there's not been a term set for today, you'll need to set those. So I'll show you how you set your terms so that we can actually get reports to work. To do this, you'll need to be a manager level user. So pass this information on to your manager if you don't have access to this, but you'll need to go to your configuration tab, which is up here. And then down the left-hand side, there's an item called term dates. And if we go in there, we can see the current term that I've got. So I've just done one for every year previously, but you can add a new term in, and you can call that anything you want. So it could be summer term or term one or whatever it would be. And then you put your dates in here. Now, a little tip is to, instead of having just term one, you would put the year in, because next year you'll have term one as well, and you don't want to confuse term one with 2021 with 2020, for example. Put your dates in here, from and to, and then click the active box, and that will show you the current term up here. So we need to have terms set up for reports to work properly. So again, any questions you've got on anything at all here, then do let me know, and they'll pop up in my Q&A box. So let's get into reports again then. So the idea behind reports is a way for you guys to periodically report something back to the parents. And the way we manage that are through, I'll give you an example and show you how we do that. I'll go into my children here, and if I look at my children, I'll use my favorite Alistair here. Alistair's not a real child. These are all made up children. Although there is a real Alistair, my friend Alistair Harling. I modeled this on him, and he did give me permission to do this as well. So I'm sure he loves seeing this up here. Okay, so if we come to Alistair's profile, we can see down the left-hand side, we have got this button that says reports. So if we go in here, we can see the current reports that we've got available for Alistair. Now, I've just set one up called an end of term report, and we've tried to make the system as flexible as we can so that you can create a report around anything you want. So it could be a settling in report, or your 2-year progress check report, or anything else that either yourself as a nursery or school or your local authority would like you to document or report upon. Transition reports, another example. We've had a question there, can all staff access reports? Yes, they can. They can all access and complete reports, but only managers can create them. So create the templates to make them available to all other staff members. Okay, so I'll go back to our configuration. Let's show you how we set up this end of term report and how it looks when we do that. So I'll go back to my configuration, and I'm going to create something. I will not call it an end of term. Yeah, I'll call it an end of term summary or something. So when we're in configuration, we go to down the bottom, we've got reports on the left-hand side. And you can see the current reports we've got set up. I've got my end of term here, and I'm going to add a new report in. So let's do that now. So let's add in a report. Katie's asked, can all staff fill in details on a report template? So Katie, any member of staff can complete a report if that's what you want to know. So yeah, for Alistair's end of term reports or baselines or whatever, any staff member can do that. So let's set our report up here. Well, let's call this end of year summary, for example. So you give your report a title, and then we need to select the report type. There are 2 types, dynamic and upload, and I'm going to do one of each of these so you can see them both. So let's concentrate on dynamic at the moment, and the reason we've called it dynamic is because you can create your own ad hoc reports, your own. These can be customized or formatted how you want them. So we're going to call this a dynamic report. You can then, if you want to, you can set how many times you expect this report to be done per term and how many times it needs to be completed per room as well, if you want to. You can leave it at no limit, or you can have numbers in there. We're going to activate this report and click on submit. So we've basically got in our system, we've got our framework there. So we've got our end of year summary. Now what we need to do is add content to that report that the team members, teachers, practitioners can then build the content around. So the way we do that is it's this questions, and I always need to change this label here to maybe something like headings, but it's called questions. So try and remember that what happens here. So click on here, and then we can add in our different content. So this is where you can make up any headings that you want to at all. What we're doing here is an end of year summary report. So we're going to do around, I'll wait for this to load up. I think we've got a internet issue again. There we go. So you build up the template of your report by adding the headings below. So let's say, for example, one of our headings is going to be around literacy. And this is the sort of thing we would do maybe at the end of a term or at the end of the year or whatever. We're going to have another one on numeracy. I'll do another couple. I'll just do one on health and well-being, and then health and well-being. I'll just do a general comment as well. So our headings that we've added are over on the right-hand side down here now. So here's all the ones that we've added in already. And if we want to, we can reorder these. So I can use these arrows here to move health and well-being up to the top if I want to. But that report is actually live now. And if we come back to our report setup, this is where you might need to watch this video a couple of times. We can choose which one we want to look at. So let's just do the new one that we've done, our end of year summary. And it was going to give us a little option here of, if we want to, we can apply it to, so at the moment, this report is active for the following terms. It's for every term. So for end of year summary, we're going to want this every year, but maybe we'll only want it in term 3 or whenever it would be. So if you want to, you can choose from your list of terms that you've created when it will be available to. And you can also change the rooms or the classes that this report is available to as well. So If I want to, I could say I only want this report to be available to the 3 to 5 or the toddlers or primary 1 or primary 7 or whatever it would be. So you can limit that here. We're just going to have it available to every child in every room. So that's our setup completely done. So now that we've got this, we can go back to our child. So let's go back to Alistair and have a look at his profile. And in his report section, we should now see there's a new one called the End of Year Summary in Reports. I just clicked on Reports there. And yeah, there we go, End of Year Summary. And we've now got the option to complete this report. So when we come to complete it, it's going to bring us to a new page and our headings will be there and there'll be a space there for us to enter all the content. So there's our different headings. And as it's a dynamic report, we've created all these. Now on my other screen over here, I've got just stuff I can copy and paste because that's going to be a lot easier than watching me type stuff out. So I can just copy and paste that into there. And if I can select the stuff, yeah, there we go. Go in, another one for numeracy, and I'll do this final comment. So I'll leave the literacy one just now. So you can have as much or as little content in here as you want. These boxes will expand if you need to have a lot in there. There's no images or media of any sort in this. So this is really just a text only. It's for your commentary on how you feel that Alistair's done. There's also an option here to allow the child's parent to view this report. So if you check this box, when the parent logs in, they will be able to see the report in a tab similar to this one or a button similar to this one. So you can either choose whether you want this report to be visible to the parents or not. So that's the box there. Lynn's just come in with a question. Can parents see all reports that have been posted? So last year's end of term. Yep, absolutely they can. I'll show you how that happens in a second. If we click on save the report here, that's our report done. So we actually auto-saved it, but it's actually just saving for us there. So reports are, that's your dynamic report basically. So we'll come back to Alistair's, well, we'll show you what that looks like when it's completely done. No, we're still saving there. I think we've got a bit of a PlayStation overload in my house, which is why things are going a little bit slower. There we go. So we've got his report has been created here and we can view what that looks like now. So when I click on that box, we can see, so there's a report. That's what it looks like. And Alistair Harling's end of year summary report. And there we go. So this can be edited, you can change it. There's it's not set in stone once you've completed this, so you can start a report, then you can come back to it. So yeah, Claire's just jumped in there with that very question. So yes, Claire, you can go back and you can amend a report. Sorry, you've actually said before it is viewed by parents. So once you've saved it, it will be visible to parents. So if you've clicked that parent view button, if you haven't clicked that, they won't be able to see it. So if you've clicked that parent view button and you saved it, then they might be able to see that. So bear that in mind before you go and allow the parents to view these reports. So come back to Alice's profile. And then who was it? Katie who was, no, it was Lynn. So yeah, so we can go back here and I can look at my previous terms and I can see any reports that have been completed for these times by just expanding these boxes here. So there we go. And here's one we did actually a couple of years ago. End of term report, we see it's been completed. There's one report there completed. It's been viewed by the parent as well. And this little P thing means that the parents can actually see that. So that means it's visible to parents. I don't know if we've got other ones that aren't visible to parents. Yeah, so here's one that's another one that's created by back in May, and it was viewed by the parent, and they've actually commented on this one. So parents can comment on reports as well. Okay, so that's dynamic reports, and I'm sure you'll probably have some questions on that. But let's go and look at the upload reports and see what the difference is there. So I'm going to jump back into my configuration tab. And we're going to have a look at those. The idea behind uploads is because the basic structure of headings and then content might not fit for every type of report that you do. So you might have your own structure, or you might be provided with a Word document or something similar by your local authority, or you've created your own and you want to use that. So let's go back into reports here. And we'll add another report. So I'm in reports, let's add another one. And we're going to call this one something different. We're going to just call this our 2-year progress check. And there we go. And this time, instead of dynamic, we're going to choose it as an upload report. So when you choose upload, you're given the opportunity to upload a template that you can use for the future on this. You don't have to upload a template, but if it's going to be the same one every time, it's maybe easier to do that. So let's choose a file, and I've got my upload example here. We can click that. So this is a Word document I had saved on the computer. In fact, I think I've got that somewhere. So there's my Word document of my upload report, any kind of Word document that you want. You could even do PDFs or whatever as well. Oh, I didn't think I did that. Oh, I did, yeah, upload examples there. And again, you can have different numbers of times per terms or per rooms if you want to. Let's make this one active and click on submit. Now, because it's an upload report, all the content's already in that document that we've wanted to upload. There's no questions for an upload report, if you see that here. And now this is available to everywhere because, again, if I look in my report setup and I choose our 2-year progress check, we'll see that it's available to all rooms and all through all terms. Once it loads up, there we go. Yep, all terms, all rooms. So we don't have to change that, but we could limit it if we wanted to. Now let's go back to Alistair. And let's imagine we'd done our downloaded our template for Alistair. 2-year progress check. There we go. And let's save that as Alistair's 2-year progress check. There is a dog running around in here, so he's quite quiet at the moment though, so we're okay. I'll put Paddy, come here. I think everybody has to do this. When we do the Zoom call, come here. Say hi to everybody because you're ruining the entire thing. There he is. Okay, so he's had his fun. Let's send him away. Right. So sorry about that. So let's save that as Alistair Harling's 2-year progress check. So that's that done. Where on earth were we? Right. Okay, so back to Alistair's report. So we go into his reports tab here, and we now have the ability to do his 2-year progress check. So if we come in here and complete that, remember this could be anything you want. We've just called it that. You can upload your file from here. So let's say we want to choose this one, and we're going to choose Alistair Harling, and we are going to not say that the parent can do this one yet. And that just uploads that file, attaches it to that report, and then we're all done. And when we go back to Alistair's report, there we can see it's here, and we can view this, edit it, and when we try and view it, it downloads that report for us there, and it brings it back up. So that's your upload report. The difference between upload is that this is a template that you guys have created, or it's been provided to you. The dynamic report is like this end of term summary where you complete that yourself by adding in commentary around there. Okay, have we got any questions on that one there, apart from a couple of dog comments? So Laura says she's using the app on her iPad. Yeah, and do you need to do this on the full site? So Laura, yes, you do need to do this on the full site. It's not a function that's available on the app. So you would need to log into the website version by going to whatever your account is up here. Okay. Can you print the dynamic report? So yeah, you can. So when we, if I come back to his existing ones, that's Katie again asking this one. So if we look at his end of term report here, I mean, I can just print this straight from the browser, but you could save it and you could have it as a PDF and export that as well. So there's a number of different options that you've got in there. Now, any reports that have been completed, if we go back to our home tab, there is we talked about a lot of these during the week, these tabs along the front here, but we can see there's a reports tab at the very end as well. And this is just a little summary of the reports that have been completed. Let me clear the filter there. So yeah, always make sure that your filters are cleared up the top so you're not looking at, if you're wondering where your things are. So here we've got our reports have all been completed today, and we can have a PDF direct from here and download that there. And then we can go into the actual, click this button to take us back into that report if we want to make any changes to that. A couple of questions coming in. Will these be deleted after 1 year too? They'll be, Kelly's asked. So Kelly, these will be deleted if the child is archived. So what Kelly is referring to there, if I come back to my children tab, is that there's this little yellow notice currently that's saying from the 1st of July 2020, children who have been archived for over a year will be permanently deleted. So any live children won't be removed, and any of the observations or reports or anything that's been done with a live child's profile won't be removed. But if it's in your archive, so if I go into my archive here, then yeah, anything here that is over basically 365 days as of the 1st of July, they will be removed. So this one here for Martha, that would be removed. So that would mean that any reports are not available. So what you would need to do, or make sure you've done there, is that you've exported all that data for those children. So their profile, any reports as well you want to print off and save on PDF, make sure you've got all that before it's over a year old. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. Lynn's asking, when you save from a template and it uploads, does it save back into Learner Journals, or do you have to save it every time? Not entirely sure I get that one, Lynn. So let's say we go back to Alistair's again. I think I know what you're talking about now, so I think I worked that one out. Before we get to that, though, I'll just answer Marie's question, which was, can you import any of the comments or E's and O's from your observations? So I think what you're meaning there, Marie, is can you automatically generate reports based on the content of your observations, like in this one here? Unfortunately, no, you can't. So the system is essentially ignorant of the observations. These reports are really just for your commentary on where you think a child is. So it doesn't take into account anything to do with the tracking and monitoring or the content of any observations that you've done. So be aware of that as well. You're basically creating these reports from scratch. I think what you were asking there, Lynn, when you save a template and it uploads, does it save back to Learner Journal? So yes, it does. If we click on view here, or edit this one, sorry, what I would need to do is I'm actually just going to download this template again, and I'm going to have to make our edit the content or whatever we would have, and then I would have to save that and then re-upload it to the system. So there's no sort of versioning or version control. So if I make a change, I can only see the one, the most recent copy. So I can't go back and see what different versions there were for a particular report. So bear that in mind as well. Can you upload reports already done, or would you need to retype into the upload report? If you've got, so, you know, we could have, when I'm choosing to upload a file here, in my completed files, I could have, you know, 10 or 15 or however many, unlimited number of already completed reports. And all I would need to do is go through each child and click and upload the correct one we want to do. So hopefully that answers that question for you, Sharon. So Anonymous has said, I'm assuming the reports are, instead of having to do the usual paper copy that teachers usually do. And yes, that is how a lot of people usually use these reports. So some schools will do this instead of that mad few weeks that they have between now, I guess, and May. They will do a report on here. And actually, a lot of the work's already been done for you, because you can just do a short commentary along with all the evidence that you've already provided to parents. And some schools find that incredibly helpful and cuts down on a lot of that overhead that they have at this time. Would you recommend doing the end of year transitions report this way instead of the usual paper copy teachers usually do? Well, that is, I guess that really depends on a lot of things, and how schools work and how nurseries work. And if that's going to work for you, then yeah, we try and do that as much as we can. But you would need to just make sure that's going to work for the procedures and processes that you guys have in place already. I only require an end of term report. Can I delete any other terms made up as they have no reports in them? Ask Helen. Yeah, Helen, you can delete terms as much as you want, but just remember, if you delete a term, that any reports attached to that, although they're not deleted, they won't be visible because they won't have a term that they're there for. So be careful when deleting terms that you don't do that. And actually, another thing that I will just quickly touch on here is if I go back into my term dates, say we had a term 1 here, and next year we come around and we have term 1 as well. So say we have term 1 and it was from these dates here, for example. Now, what we don't want is next year when we come around to this one, we don't want to just come in and edit this and then change the dates for the next year. So we always want to create a new term. You don't want to go back and edit new terms because that will cause problems when the system is trying to find your reports for that term, because it will look at dates, they won't match up and whatever. So make sure that you don't rename terms if you're going to use those names again. So that's why I said call it term 1, 2020, term 2, 2020, term 1, 2021, for example. So Lorna is asking, so for the upload report, is it in effect just a method of sharing? You're not actually completing within the learning journals? Yeah, that's right. So for the upload report, you would be doing this offline, I guess, but still on your computer somewhere else, and you upload that report. And it's really, again, the reason for that would be because you've got your own template that you want to use, or the council that you are in has their own template that you want to use. So. When you upload your own report and view, does it view as a screenshot of the desktop display, or is it the actual report? Yeah, when you're viewing that, it's opening a brand new page. So if I come to this tab here, so there's Alistair's report. So this has gone into a brand new tab here. I can print this and I can save that, and I can download it or whatever. So yeah, there's lots of. It's not just a screenshot here. We have an actual page that you can download and export or save. But if you want to edit it, you would come back to the actual page for editing and make all your changes there. That was Stacey. If you choose not to share a report with parent, can you go back to the report and change it? Yes, you can. So if we come into Alistair again, if there's any that we haven't chosen, to check that box that says parents can view it, we can edit our thing and just say that. So come back to Alistair's report. Oh, that's a good one, Katie. So, right. Yeah, so if we go to our reports and edit this one, I've not said that the parents can see this one yet, but I can come back in here, change it, and then complete the report there. Katie has said, is there a possibility that, the school's logo could be added? And yeah, that's a great idea. So we could add that in, or we could rearrange this somehow so we've got your logo in here. Yeah, these things like this are actually quite easy, but until someone suggests it, we often don't think of it. If they using a dynamic report, can you upload a blank template to all children, or you do have to do it one at a time? No, you can upload a blank template. So that was actually done in our configuration again. Oh, I didn't upload a template for that one, but yeah, you can do that. So if I go to reports, I'm going to actually click on it. Reports, and I think it's report setup. Sorry, it's report content. There we go. End of term report. Sorry, 2-year progress check. Edit that, and I want to have a template for everybody to do. So let's say I'll upload our little template that we've got. Mary's asked a little question here while I'm waiting for that. Is will I let you know if you're doing any more webinars over the official school holiday beginning for the next 2 weeks? And are we available? Yeah, well, definitely we're always available. So if you need any help or anything like that, I'll show you where all those links are in a second. Webinars, I'm not sure we've I'm certainly open to doing more. If there's any specific subjects that you guys want to do, I can certainly do that. I'm just not sure what the audience will be like over the next couple of weeks. So one I want to do, for example, is for primary schools. I know that's not everybody here, but for primary schools, showing them how children can log in. So that's one I've never done yet, so we can maybe do that. If there's any other subjects that you want, then do get in touch with us, or even put them in the Q&A there or the chat, and we can have a look at that. What was I doing? Oh yeah, so we're going to upload this template here. So I'll upload our upload example, we'll call it, and let's just submit that. So now that when I go to any child, if I go to, who will we pick? We'll pick Anya here. So if I go to Anya's profile and into reports here, we've got our 2-year progress check. So if I complete that now, we should have a template available. So you don't need to go searching for this every time. Yeah, so I can download this reports template, click on that, and it's downloaded that report, that blank template for me again. So when I open that up, there we go. There it is there. So I would just edit this, save it, and then re-upload it to Anya's profile. Do nurseries use reports to send out newsletters? Asks Lynn. I don't think so. The best way to do newsletters would be through the messages feature. We've got a whole webinar on that I did last week, I think, for messages and parent contributions. So if you come to learningjournals.co.uk, resources, webinars, click on this link down here, that will tell you all about how to do messages and parent contributions. And that's a really good way for doing newsletters. So there's a couple of ways you can do that, but I would say messages would be the best way. If staff members do a settling in report, for example, how do they get the info from Learning Journals? So if Anonymous there is asking about a settling in report, and as I mentioned earlier, there's no info that automatically comes from the observations or stories you've created. So all the content that you're putting into reports is something external from that. So if you've got a settling in report, you could maybe do that as a dynamic report and then add in your commentary around that. Or if you've got a nursery zone or school zone settling in report template that you've got, you could just use that as an upload. Marie asked if there's a maximum number of words you can use in each text box. I don't think there is. If someone wants to test that out, then do let me know, but I'm pretty sure you can go as much as you want. I guess bear in mind how much you need to put in there. When sending out reports to parents, is there a way to make reports active at the one time? Helen has asked that, and actually, Helen, no, that's a good point. Don't think there is, so that's something I will note down that we can develop in the future. And I think the way we would do that is through our reports tab over here, and we would just have an extra column that you could check to make it available to parents. So that isn't at the moment, but yeah, thanks for that suggestion, because that's definitely something that we can get. So it's 2 that have come out of this. That's really good. Let me just actually look and see what we've got here. So can all staff edit reports, or is it just admin who have certain access? No, all staff are able to edit reports. So yeah, you don't have to be a manager to be able to do that. Stacey is just asking again about how do we find the webinars. So Stacey, if you come to our website, which is learningjournals.co.uk/resources/webinars, or if you scroll down the bottom, there's a link at the very bottom here, and that will show you where they all are here. And if you haven't already done it, make sure you fill in this keep updated form down the bottom, because this will, when I'm sending out my notifications and newsletters for things like new features, for example, then that will be in there. So yeah, that's how you find the webinars. Let's have a couple more questions coming in. When you're in parent contributions or achievements and you viewed a contribution, then closed it, is there a quick way to get back to the list of parent contributions or achievements? When I come out of an individual one, it seems like you go back to home and then select. I think I know what you mean here. So when we come into, let's say we're in our list of parent contributions, here they all are here, and I want to view this one that's been created for Catherine. I click on the view button and I can come and look at that. So there we are here. Now, I believe what Katie is saying is when we click back, we're not shown that same list, and I think that's correct. I think we're going to go back to the home tab. Yeah, and I've come straight to observations. So that's another thing that I will need to take a note of there, Katie. So no, that's not you, that's everybody, unfortunately. Okay, let's see, there's a couple other questions over here. So Pat asks, can you build an end of year report over time and save as you go? I guess actually, yes, you could, Pat. So what we've shown you there is that with Anya's report, we have got our, should have had these open on different tabs, shouldn't we? On Anya's report, we've got our end of year summary, or whatever it is we want to do, end of term, and we can start this one off and we can add in our first part. So health and well-being, you know, Anya did great, it's whatever. I agree, and we can save that at the moment. We've not allowed the parent to see that at the moment. And then later on in the year, we can go back and add to this. So here we are, we can edit this now. We can come back and we do something for numeracy. But what we could also do, so we've got more stuff in here for Anya. But what we could also do is we could go into our configuration and we could add in more content here. So we could add in extra headings. So we could do things around sciences or technologies or whatever it would be that you want to do, and you could add to that. Just bear in mind that you might have some blank areas for some children if it's not already done it there. Anne's asking, can you add a photo to your report from an observation? No, unfortunately, Anne, you can't. So reports are text only at the moment anyway. I guess what you could do is in an upload report with your Word document that we could upload a photo into there. So, you know, when we're in here, we could insert a picture if we wanted to, wherever that button is around here. But yeah, so you could do that. But for the dynamic reports that we showed here, like this one here, there's no text or media or any sort of thing. It's just, sorry, there is only text. There's no media. It's just whichever commentary you want to add in there. And is there a way of noting when the child has viewed their own learning journals, so evidence to care inspectors? Ask Lisa. That's another good one, Lisa. So no, at the moment, so you'll have seen, I'm sure, that there are. Actually, I would need to check on the answer to this because there might be in the child login screen, but we haven't. None of my children here have actually ever logged in. That might be the case, Lisa. So if you remember with the parents, so if you remember when a parent logs in, there's a couple of ways you can see when that's happened. So we can have a look down here and we can see that the parent for Alistair has actually last logged in today, but there's also this little label or flag is added in when the parent is last logged in. So we can see that he's seen up to the most recent observation. But if I added a new story or a new observation here, this flag here would get pushed down until he viewed it, and then it would come back up to the top. And I think there might be something in place already for the children. If it's not already in place, then we'll have that already getting developed. But that's, I can't show you any more of that at the moment because I don't have any of these children able to log in at the moment. So I think that's been done, Lisa, but if not, it will be on the way very shortly. When doing the observation for your group, is there a way that when we click back, it can go back to only your group instead of all children again? I think that this is another thing that we're actually working on as well. It's sort of a little workflow thing, and I do understand why that can be frustrating. So if you are logged, I'm logged in as a manager here, so I will see all children. So when I go back to my 3 to 5 room, I think I'll see everybody. Now it might be, actually I thought that was the case already. So I'll need to, if you're the person that, I don't have your name, but if the person who asked that question, if you're a manager, you will see everybody. And I thought, I'll need to check on this, but say for example, if I was just Andrea, I would only see Andrea's key children, which are just these 4 here. So I'll need to check on that one for you, and we can have a look at that. Laura's asking, can you make reports available to individual children or is it just by rooms? It's just by rooms, I'm afraid, Laura. So We can't set those up yet for individual children. You don't need to complete them, and if you haven't completed them, then parents won't see them. So it really depends on what you want to do there. Do the care inspector and HMIE report, or Ofsted, I guess, report that using this function is better than usual paper copies? I think just like a lot of things, or pretty much the whole system, this is just a tool for you guys, and it's how you use the tool that is really the real answer to that. Some people will do this in a way that maybe the care inspectors think is better than paper copies, but if your processes aren't good in the first place, then it's not going to be good when you're using learning journals. So do remember that what you put into this is what you get out. And I think, from my point of view, I think it's much better for me as a parent to be able to come on here anytime I want and find that report, because the paper reports that I've had in the past, I'm not the best at keeping track of that. And my own sort of schoolwork admin for my kids isn't great, so I wouldn't be able to track those down instantly. But on here, if I was Graham's parents, I would be able to come in here and I would know where those reports were. So that's a positive from my point of view. And Lorna asks, in dynamic reports, can you look at adding a child's view using the smiley face options? Oh, that's a good suggestion. So for those of you who don't know, there's a child view available that we can, I can come down here. So if I click on my face, or your face, and down to child view, you pop your pin in. What that does is remove the editing capability of it, so that if you've got a smart board, which would be a fantastic way to use this, then the children would be able to use their own, click on their own faces and see their own profile, so they still have access to it. So Lorna's suggesting something similar for the report, so I can certainly get that added and looked at as well. Okay, guys, I think that about wraps up for reports. Again, this will be available on our YouTube channel and the website through that link that I just showed you a minute ago. And that should be later on this afternoon or tomorrow morning. And tomorrow we have got, what have we got tomorrow? Oh, admin tips and tricks. So I think, doesn't sound very exciting, but there's a lot of features in here that when I go out and visit or follow up with people who've been using the system, that they haven't noticed these extra features that could save them so much time. So I'm going to go through a lot of those tomorrow. And so if you're around, then certainly come along and have a look at that too. Thanks very much for everybody. Oh, well, one last question sneaked in. Teachers do the end of year reports or transition reports. In your setting, or wondering in other settings, do the teachers just do this, or do all staff? I would say it was a teacher would do their own reports for their own children, but we don't have work in a school setting. I guess maybe that's where you're coming from there. But yeah, I would suggest that teachers do all their own reports. Okay, thanks very much everybody for coming along here. We will hopefully see you again tomorrow. And any questions or suggestions for future webinars, get in touch with us either at the there's a contact on our website up here. So you can send that through to us, or it's just info@learningjournals.co.uk, and any suggestions would be gratefully received. All right, thanks very much, everybody, and we'll see you again sometime.